The Native Americans in this area are known as the Snoqualmie tribe and established the upper Snoqualmie River as a spiritual place. The region was settled by pioneers in the 1850s, and by the 1890s, the town, lumber mills, a railroad, and an underground power plant was established. Currently, the area is owned by Snoqualmie and North Bend. The Puget Sound Energy runs the power plant. This has turned Snoqualmie Falls into a recent site of controversy, as Puget Sound Energy wants to install new turbines, but it would require significantly altering the riverbanks, which the Snoqualmie tribe adamantly object to. Some see it as a progress, a technological advancement, and others a violation and sanctioned destruction. The first outcrop observed was made up of dark gray or black mafic rock, aphanitic but shiny and almost wet-looking. It was not easily breakable or brittle, and it's hypothesized that this rock was extrusive volcanic basalt made up of calcium-rich plagioclase, pyroxene, olivine, and amphibole. The outcrop was made up of slabs of this rock about an inch or two thick that were nearly vertical but angled slightly towards the right. One possible explanation for this would be if the formation was an angular unconformity and the outcrop had gone through mechanical exfoliation. This would create the sheets of rock, and although being deposited horizontally, having been tilted to a near vertical position. There is also a red color on some of the outcrop, which is hypothesized to be due to the chemical weathering process of oxidation, which would coincide with the minerals that make basalt. No fossils were found at the site. Vegetation was found above the outcrop. The site was also dry, with misting not reaching this location, and the outcrop was observed to be about 6 feet tall by 8 feet wide. The second outcrop observed was made up of a dark brown, sandy, coarse-grained texture, which was very crumbly and easily broken apart, mixed with mud or clay. In fact, it was very similar to the texture of the outcrop we first observed at the Renton Formation, where sandstone mixed with coal layers was observed. I would hypothesize that this formation is made up of sandstone and clay, the clay due to the chemical weathering process of hydrolysis, which reacts with potassium and potassium feldspars and creates the stable clay mineral kaolinite. I also noticed a slight yellowish-orange rust color on part of the face of the formation, which I would attribute to oxidation. It leads me to believe that there is some basaltic rock further up the cliff face. At this point by the falls, there was a constant misting present that caused the outcrop to be constantly wet. One observation about the outcrop was that the upper left side seemed to overhang the right side. This could be due to the presence of water in the formation from the misting, which would reduce the internal friction between the grains as well as create an added weight to the sediment, causing it to slide down but leaving a more stable overhanging piece of the outcrop still intact. In addition to the overhang, I also observed several lines of breakage or fracture in the rock, one significantly larger than the other and spanning almost the entire outcrop. This could have been, at least in part, due to the mechanical weathering process of frost wedging, with cracks such as this quite common due to such a big presence of water, as well as knowing the climate of the area and that it gets quite cold during the winter. No fossils were found at this site and little vegetation. The outcrop observed was about 20 feet tall by 30 feet wide. The Snoqualmie Falls were produced during the deglaciation period of the Cascade Glacier. A moraine was formed near Snoqualmie Falls within the Snoqualmie and Cedar Valleys, consisting of pre-Vashon Age glacial drift. It caused the derangement of the Snoqualmie drainage, producing Snoqualmie Lake, which was then bisected by the alluvial fan delta of Tokel Creek. On draining or filling the lake, the trunk Snoqualmie River coursed around the edge of the delta and superposed on a rock ridge of the pre-glacial South Valley side, which is what we know today as to be Snoqualmie Falls. The area is made up of several compositions. One is of early tertiary basalt, as the falls is actually only 1,000 feet away from a 20-million-year-old faulted volcano, which has only been recently discovered. This fits with the composition of the first outcrop observed. Another composition is depositional sand and gravel, as well as fine clays and sand due to glacial till, which fits with the composition of the second outcrop. These deposits were placed there when a large ice tongue melted to fill the lake, which is thought to have been quite stagnant, also filling with bedded silts and clays. In addition, the glacial Tokel Creek was built a sand-gravel delta which bisected this area. You can see this geological history in the geologic map. Snoqualmie Falls is located on the Rattlesnake Mountain Fault and surrounded by volcanic rocks from the Miocene period. It is within a valley, which we know to be U-shaped rather than sharply V-shaped, and which coincides with the shape of a valley with a glacier that had run through it. In the upper right, you can see where Tokel Delta now lies and how this would have helped in creating the falls when it was further west. You may also notice that the falls is located directly on a syncline, which is denoted by the purple arrows pointing inward on a line. Today, we know Snoqualmie Falls to be a 268-foot cliff located in the northwest region of Washington State, just 30 miles southeast of Seattle. It began as a popular tourist attraction in the 1950s and remains one today, as Washington State's second most popular tourist attraction.
Oh, joys are ours, the sun has come again to hold you, sailing out the doldrums of the week. The polyphonic prayer